sitting here with Johnny Watkin, our former youth director here from Southampton Town United. Big time favorite of a lot of our players, and I've had the privilege to coach Johnny in college as well, and then we worked together, with Southampton Town United. So welcome, Johnny. You're the first guy here in our blue and white episodes.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Very happy to have you. How you feeling, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit nervous about the questions you might ask, but now very excited, and obviously it's great to see you. I haven't seen you for a couple of years, and hopefully be able to stay in touch with a lot of the Southampton Soccer Club family, as I have done over the past couple of years, but hopefully this message will reach a few more as well. So yeah, it's good to see you. Yeah,
we're going to kind of keep it PG. So, we'll first off, we're going to start these series, and you're the first guy to be on. So hopefully we can work through all the kinks and stuff. But to start, I wanted to talk a little bit about your background in soccer, how you got started. Obviously you're from England, but if you can tell us a little bit more about your background there before you made a move over to the States.
Yeah, I think my playing career as a kid started actually really, really late, considering in the UK. A lot of youngsters start kicking footballs around like 5-6 years old. I didn't start playing until I was 10. I had no interest in it whatsoever, and it's quite funny when I have uncles that play professionally and grandfathers and family members that are so invested in football. And I didn't start playing until I was 10 years old. But obviously as soon as I started playing, it was just, as you can imagine, like all my heroes back then wanted to be just like them. And then I think I started playing at sort of a higher level when I got to age 14, 15. And I started representing my county at South Yorkshire, which is like a region for New York, if that makes sense. And then from there, I was fortunate enough to spend 6 months with Rotherham United Academy, which is a professional football club in England. It's actually my boyhood club that I support. So that was quite a fun experience. But being sort of 5'3", I always knew coming up to that 16, 17-year-old, when the pro contracts and youth contracts start getting rolled out, I always knew that that would kind of hold me back a little bit, particularly in men's football, if that makes sense, at 16. So at 16, I didn't quite get a contract with Rotherham, but I managed to continue my education and play for Thomas Rotherham College, which is 16 to 18 is like high school for the US, but over here we call that college. And I ended up playing for the academy system there, which was also linked with Rotherham United at the time. And then from there, I was very fortunate enough to be put forth to trial with England Schools Football Association. So I was one of, I think, about 1,000 that were put forth to go down to Kent for like a big trial weekend. I was there for 4 days. And then I think I was one of 2 from South Yorkshire, from the region, that went to represent South Yorkshire, and ended up getting to the last 32 in the country. And I remember we had different trial dates throughout the country, throughout the year. And there was at places like Aston Villa's training ground, at Birmingham, at Leeds United, at Derby County, some big time academy clubs. So some great experiences playing there. But again, I made it to the last 32. To me, that was an unbelievable achievement. I knew that, football, I was never going to make it as a pro footballer. I was quite realistic with myself with that. But from that experience there, it almost kind of fueled that fire inside me again to want to keep playing. And then while I was at Thomas Rotherham College, my coach at the time had actually played out in the US at Hofstra University, and had suggested to me while I was studying that I should potentially start contacting coaches to go over to maybe try and obtain an athletic scholarship to continue playing and study out in the US, which at the time, which was 10 years ago now, actually 10 years ago, it wasn't really, really popular. And I didn't know anyone that had ever done it from my area or anything like that. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to then go on a tour to New York with Thomas Rotherham College, where I played out in Massachusetts at Burns Park at Met Oval. Now, I think you were supposed to come and watch me in Met Oval, but never made it. And then on my last day there, while we were playing with Thomas Rotherham, the coach from Hofstra, which was Richard Nuttall at the time, I think it still is Richie, he wanted to meet with me for breakfast and discuss like sort of potential opportunity to come over and play. And that was in the summer, July of 2010. And then in August of 2010, I moved over to the US and started my first journey, so to speak, in US soil with football and soccer. And that in itself was a massive learning curve, because as you know, well, as you know, I'm not sure if many of us know that I had a bit of a difficult time playing there. You know, as a youngster at 18, playing with lads from all over the world who are 22, 23 years old, not really getting too much playing time, getting off the bench, not really scoring many goals or really performing that well. And then after one semester at Hofstra, ended up transferring to CW Post, which was then LRU Post at the time, where I met you in the spring. And then from there, sort of the rest is history. We had a few, 3 or 4 great years together, both playing and coaching. So,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, that's quite the journey, Johnny.
Yeah.
It's funny to listen back to it. You know, obviously, we just said we spent 3 seasons together when you were playing at Post, and then you stayed on and you became the assistant coach for a while as well. And got some accolades too. Some, you know, all regional championship, and then on your own individual, got an All-American nod as well.
Yeah, I think we're quite fortunate at that time. The recruiting class that came in the fall of 2011, I believe it was. So many great players, and then from there we kind of really built a quality squad. And from that, having a quality squad and depth and so many good international and American players, I think we did really well. We ranked #1 in the country for a while. Went to national tournament for the first time in a while in the programme's history. Held our own on the East Coast, and obviously with wins, you then win the East Coast Conference. Becomes like a no-brainer that that's what we're going to win each year. Then it went to regions, and then trying to strive that national championship. That never quite happened, but you know, with that, I was fortunate enough to be honoured as a first team All-American selection, Scholar All-America in 2013. So yeah, I mean that goes, you know, that's some of the good memories, but that's also down to kind of the team that I played with and being around so many great players to allow those opportunities to happen. So
yeah, well, you're humble as always. You know, hopefully we can get some footage here to show your fans over some goals as well.
Yeah, there aren't too many, but
so from then making a move from CW Post as a player into the coaching ranks, and then you ended up coming out to Southampton, spending some time here, working with the club, becoming first as a youth coach, trainer, and then eventually being the director of youth development. Tell me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I graduated from Post, after I did my major in physical education, I always wanted to be a PE teacher. I wanted to go into the education system. But alongside that, obviously that love for football and soccer was always there. And I'd managed to get a position at the CDCH school in what's it called? Where's the Stephen Hans path?
Easthampton.
Yeah, Easthampton, that's the one. And alongside that, I managed to obviously work with yourself at CSG and Southampton Soccer Club to really build the club. I think when I first came out, I don't think there were too many teams, so to speak, but that's kind of grew over the years, and summer camps got bigger, and then we added more and more youth teams from like 06, 07 boys, and they grew and grew and grew, and the club got really big, and I'm sure they're continuing with the success that we tried to build over the years.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, my passion's always been football. It always will be. It's always ingrained in me, you know, and I'll always have a love for it. And at that time, having the opportunity to work with youth players and great families in a little community was absolutely fantastic, because everyone buys into what you're doing, and you can see when the kids kind of take what they're learning on a Tuesday and Thursday night, then progress to JV and varsity at the high school, and you watch them play over there, and you see what you're creating with them put into practice in a really competitive environment. It's so humbling, the experience. But yeah, absolutely love my time at Southampton Soccer Club. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I know a lot of players have a lot of love for you too. If you think back, you know, favorite memories, you know, that you can think of.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 2 really distinct memories that stick out in my mind. The first one's a bit of a heartbreak one. We were with the 2002 Sharks team, I believe it was.
Yes.
Yeah, and we'd gone to play in the league, where we travelled basically all over the place, Brooklyn, upstate. And this is not a great memory; it's actually a poor memory. But we were in the semi-finals of the league or cup, and we were playing at Southampton High School, and we were 1-1 for the whole game, and it went to extra time, to overtime, and we were defending, and the other team had shot, and I remember Parker West had covered his body like this, and it hit him in the arms, which you know and I know that wouldn't be classed as handball, but the referee gave a penalty, and we ended up losing on that penalty. And that memory will always stick with me, just because of the pure heartbreak you could see in the boy's face at the end of that.
Right.
That's, for some reason, has always stuck with me, because they were so resilient all game and battled so hard just to be let down by something like that, which is one of those
I
things.
remember that game as well. Well, good news, if you don't know, keeping up with Parker West, is just committed to Mercer Marine Academy to play soccer there too. So obviously,
absolutely.
You had a big part of that.
Yeah, that's quality. And then my other memory comes with the girls. 2005? No. 2003s, yeah. And it was a season where I just took over from Gary after he coached him for such a long time. And we'd gone to, I think we'd just started on 11-a-side. It might be the second year in 11-a-side. And the season, actually, I think we went undefeated. And the football we were playing at the time was absolutely amazing. And we're working on so many things in training of sort of resilience and working together and how to move the ball together as a team. And this particular memory started from a goal kick. And Kendra played the ball out to Sarah at right back, which for the first time all season, I think you were there watching it as well and commented, but for the first time all season, they'd actually been brave enough to do it. And Sarah then played the ball into the middle to Caroline Henke. He got set back to Caroline Lust, who played a long ball up to Carly up top, who then set it back to the other midfielder, which must have been Isabel. I forgot the last name.
Palumbo,
yeah, who played the ball out to Hallie Beaker on the left, who then slipped in Ellie Avalone, and she whipped it into the top corner. I thought it was the most complete goal I've ever seen in my life, and it was brilliant. And it is kind of those moments there that make you really, really love what you're doing and working with the team, and not just the team, but the families that are watching. And yeah, it's just a great memory.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I was there for that. I think, I was telling you, you're a master coach after watching that. And, like that team, that girls team, they're still together. Gary took over again, and they're doing really well. And a couple of girls are looking now to go on and go to college, and some of them have made the ODP team. And, it's a team that the girls have really developed, and they play a really nice style of soccer that you implemented and have done a really good job, and Gary now continued. But it's a great group of girls, like you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of across the board for the club. The culture and this is why we're so passionate about working for Southampton Soccer Club and yourself, is the culture that we created amongst most teams, if not all teams, was that buy-in to you're not just football players or soccer players for us. It's our project, it's our family, and that's what made it so good. And that's why there's so many great memories, and so many. Even the losses weren't as always devastating, because of kind of the heart and resilience that a lot of kids showed up on a Saturday, Sunday morning and just gave everything they have. And it was again brilliant, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome, Johnny. Well, one of my favorites from you was actually that happened last summer, and it's when you came and made an appearance at the Gothia Cup in Sweden.
Of course, yeah.
We were fortunate to bring, our academy teams over there, and especially then the 05 and 06 groups and 03 boys as well, that you kind of worked across all those three age groups. And, to see the pure joy on the players there. You showed up with the 05. I think we had a playoff game there. And I actually ended up taking over the warm-up there. But to set the tone, and the boys were so thrilled to see you. That's one of my favorite memories, just to look at the players when they see you walk on the field, and the love that they showed for you.
Yeah, that was very humbling. A lot of hairs on my neck standing up on that one. Especially when telling the guys, come on, out of the car park, let's go back onto the field,
Yeah, I say half the team are probably taller than you now at the moment as well.
Oh, yeah. I remember hugging, is it Javi?
Yeah.
I was on my tiptoes, yeah. Moose, not too worried, so.
Yeah, no, it's great. Very cool. All right, so to move on, I'm checking in my notes here. What's your involvement with the game today, and is there any?
Yeah, so prior to finishing with Southampton, obviously I moved back to the UK in 2018, and I knew at that point that after my coaching experience with Southampton, with LAU Post at college, that I'd hit my pinnacle, and I hit my peak of coaching football and playing football, and I knew that I'm kind of knocking on now. So I never wanted to go on and then coach something different, because in the UK, the system's very different. It's very, I don't know how to describe it. Like I talked about the family with Southampton and that sort of intricateness of being close. It's not really like that over here. It's very different. And I didn't really want to continue coaching, so I would never get that same experience that we had at Southampton. So I kind of drew the line with coaching football, soccer at that time. However, I do still play, keeping the dream alive. Playing it around what we call step 6 in UK football. So in the hierarchy of football, you've got the Premier League at the top, Championship, League 1, League 2 then get split, and then the leagues kind of get wider and wider as you go down. I'm playing at what we call a semi-professional level, step 6, where there's bits and bobs of money involved with playing. It's very competitive. Each stadium's got 250 seats, etc. So it's good. It's different. I can't move like I used to move. So it's frustrating, to say the least. But I think I've probably got a season or 2 left in me, and then that'll kind of be it in terms of football. But as you know, I always wanted to be involved in education and teaching. So my love for working with young adults, young students, that was always going to be there. And that's what I do for a living now. I'm somewhat involved with the futsal academy and football academy at the college where I work at the moment. Not too much. It's kind of drop down, do some S&C sessions with the young athletes that are like 16, 17 years old, that try and push them on to different areas after college. And then in terms of sort of scholarship works, I've been through the process. I work with a lot of our young athletes at college who are students are looking to go out to the US, whether that be in football and soccer, or whether it be in something different like hockey or tennis. I kind of help them with that scholarship process and speaking to coaches. So, yeah. Cool.
Well, this has been awesome, Johnny. It's been great to talk to you. Before I kind of let you go, is there anything that you want to tell, your fans here at Southampton, or your former players? Word of advice or encouragement, or any love?
Yeah, firstly, I absolutely miss you all, and I'll never get those feelings back of coaching you and being around you. So keep that family-orientated vibe going at Southampton. It's very unique. And second to that, just keep being resilient, like we used to teach you on the field. You have to keep working hard no matter what, and all the good things that you're hoping for in life, they'll happen to you if you work hard. Absolutely. So
awesome. And then remember, you promised that you were going to come over here and guest coach one summer. I mean, with all the stuff going on at the moment, I think this summer might be out. But in summer of 2021, we're expecting you back here at Flying Point Park.
Absolutely. Pencil me in. I'll be there.
All right. Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thanks, Greg. Take care. Bye-bye.